Love me forever or not a day, and may my happiness be death for you. Another battle with Nightmare and his gang. Nothing foreshadowed trouble, but it seemed so only at first glance. Something was obviously wrong. Today, everyone's beloved and peaceful Outer Tale turned out to be under attack by bad guys. Our villains acted surprisingly, rather slowly, as if they were deliberately delaying time. What are they up to? It would have been possible to continue thinking about this issue if it hadn't been for the defenders of Multiverse who arrived immediately. And the newcomer to their ranks is Cross. The guy refused to work for the Nightmare, and we all know why. The Reason stood next to him, frowning menacingly, even though he loved absolutely any dream, but still the smile on her face looked much better. "Stand still and don't move!" Blue stomped her foot menacingly, magically summoning a weighty, silvery-looking long axe. It's amazing how such a fragile-looking girl could hold something like that. "You again. Tired of ruining all the fun every time." The guy with the black smudges under his eyes said with a click, "Leave this universe alone." "What if we don't?" the ash-haired artist, Ink, exclaimed. "What will you do then?" Error mumbled like a Cheshire cat, lying in an improvised hammock made of his blue threads. "We will recapture the peace and quiet of the inhabitants by force," Dream exclaimed, shooting Glitchy's comfortable couch with her bow. He fell to the ground with a crash, cursing along the way. Cross laughed defiantly, for which he almost got a Gaster blaster in the face from Dust. Fortunately, Monochrome managed to dodge. "I don't like it when my meal is interrupted," Horror whispered with a brutal smile, simultaneously teleporting behind Blue and swinging a good old meat axe at her. "You'll make a great snack." Cross came to her rescue, fending off the blow with his huge knife. "It's been a while since I've added to my collection of puppets. We should fix this." Glitchy summoned the threads, directing them towards Dream, but Ink covered her, tearing the threads with one swipe of her brush. "You're losing your grip, Ashi." Ink laughed maliciously, sticking her tongue out at the guy. He waved his hands irritably, summoning a series of Gaster blasters. "No way, you're only gonna fight with me here, heh. The artist continued to clownish, thereby provoking the destroyer more and more. She deftly jumped up, avoiding the withering rays. "Phew, I almost got caught. Thanks, Cross." Blue took a defensive pose, glancing at the bloodthirsty Horror. "No problem." Cross glanced at Dream, who was frozen in one place despite the danger. She looked puzzled. "Don't count the crows." The killer wanted to attack the Guardian, but was roughly thrown aside. "Not so fast." Monochrome blocked his beloved. "Don't be in such a hurry, asshole. Did you forget the boss's order?" Dust teleported to the empty-eyed man, giving him a helping hand. "Yes, I remember. Don't start." He grinned and got to his feet. "Dream, are you okay? Is something wrong?" Cross turned to Dream, examining her, but she just stood there, just staring at one point. What happened to her? Just 5 minutes ago, everything was as usual. A dream? "Can you hear me, Dream?" The guy had already started shaking her slightly, trying to bring her to her senses. Still zero reaction. "You are not alone here." The killer picked up another knife and ran towards our couple, but he was rejected again. Something cold and slippery grabbed his leg and lifted him up, shaking him badly. "Don't overdo it, killer," said a velvety and cold voice, once so familiar and native to our Dream. "Brother." The dreamer returned to her former state as if at the snap of a finger. The old pale glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. "I'm late. Have you played enough, you half-wits?" The dark-haired guy looked around the battlefield with a stern gaze, glancing at Error and Ink, who were fighting on the sidelines. They didn't pay any attention to the new guest at all. How predictable. Blue stopped, pushing the menacing Horror away from her. "Nightmare has arrived," Blueberry whispered in fright. "Food!" Even the appearance of the boss didn't stop him. He continued to fight, taking Blue much further away. Dust also joined in. The girl is clearly going to have a hard time. And the faithless mutt is here too, the full lineup. Nightmare looked at Cross with disgust. For everyone, this meeting felt like an ordinary skirmish for the life of another universe, but definitely not for Dreams. Her state of mind was dramatically shaken. My heart began to pound violently, and an unpleasant pain began to shoot into my head. "What is it, Dream? Are you feeling unwell?" Knight asked in his usual sarcastic manner, mocking her condition. "Brother, what's wrong with you? Is something wrong with you? Your level of negativity, it is on the verge of reasonable." "What is it?" The girl clutched her chest, breathing fast. "What's that? Come closer. I can't hear anything at all except a pathetic whimper." He kept gloating. "Dream, be careful." Cross lightly hugged the dreamer, holding her so that she would not simply fall. "Brother, I feel like there's something wrong with you." "Oh, something's definitely bothering you." The girl seemed to be suffocating. "Aren't you awake a little late, sister? It's even disgusting to call you that. The only thing that worries me right now is how best to deal with you." "Ha ha." The tentacle holding the killer visibly tightened and threw the poor guy somewhere into the distance. "How many times have I told you? I didn't know they were doing this to you. Me. I was just ordinary. A stupid and naive child. Why didn't you tell me anything yourself? You never told me anything. And even now you're hiding your depressed state." Dream tried to reach out to Nightmare for the 1,000th time, but it was all for nothing. "Shut up. Just shut up. You can only build a universal ideal of yourself and shift the blame onto others." The Nightmare has already moved on. No. I'll never shut up. As long as we're alive, I will never stop talking to you, brother. She began to calm down a little, being in such a gentle and warm embrace of Cross. "Then just die. Die and burn in hell. I hate you." Nightmare has sharpened his tentacles, turning them into a cold-blooded murder weapon. "I won't let you." Cross gently pushed Dream away from him, allowing a dozen negative needles to pierce his body. They chained him to the nearest wall, digging deeper and deeper. The girl did not have time to understand anything, as she was already lying on the ground, looking at the chained Cross. "What? No, not the Cross. Please, brother, let him go. He could die." From such an overabundance of negativity, she staggered to her feet, holding onto the bough uncertainly. "Damn, I wanted to deal with this jerk later, but since he reached under his arm, it's even better." While Nightmare was distracted by his own thoughts, Dream, barely aiming, shot at Nightmare's shoulder, to which he hissed and relaxed his grip. Cross collapsed to the ground like a riddled doll. Dream threw the bow aside and rushed to her beloved. Falling to her knees in front of him, the girl lifted his head slightly. Oh, the stars. "My dear Crossy. How are you? Tell me where it hurts. I'll try to help. We'll figure something out. It's not the first time like this." The golden-haired woman began to run her palm over his cheek, but the guy didn't even think to open his eyes. "What is it? Please open your eyes." "You can't do that. You can't because—" Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. What a scene. So it was so easy. I didn't even think it would work. The Nightmare burst into sinister laughter, which echoed in Dream's head. "What's the matter with you, Crossy? You definitely can't just leave me like that, and you can't— We've been through so much with you. And just like that. No. Visible tears began to form in her eyes, which were getting bigger by the second. "You see, sister, your Cross will be gone soon. To put it simply, he's poisoned. Poisoned by negativity. The calculation was that you would be lying in his place, and the dose is right for you, but for him, it's just deadly. With every passing second, his pitiful soul is rotting away, bringing him unbearable pain. What a pity. What a pity. But don't worry, I'll send you after him. He shrugged, still grinning. No, I said. I do not believe I can help him. The girl decided to put her hand on her heart, transferring her positive energy to him. Alas and but this time your positivity is useless. However, as always, if you continue to give your energy to him, you will go to the other world yourself. It's good for me, though. The dream. The son is mine. Cross weakly put his hand on Dream's arm, slightly opening his eyes. Crossy! You're alive! Alive! Of course he's alive. Oh, the stars. I was so scared. I did dream. My love. No need. Don't sacrifice your powers for me. I feel like I don't have much left. Quite a bit. So, please hear me. My love, my protector. Why did you sacrifice yourself? Now you're dying because of me. I'm sorry I didn't protect you, my most precious one. She kissed his hand gently, bringing it to her cheek. You. It's warm, as always. I love you so much. Listen to me. Do you remember that short conversation we had on Valentine's Day? We stood at the window and watched the fireworks. You were so happy. And me too. I asked you, will we be able to meet even after death? Can we? The guy started coughing loudly. A thick black liquid began to flow out of his mouth. Don't tell me you're really going to. No, I won't allow it. I won't let you, Cross. Dream began to turn her head hysterically in denial, not believing her ears. So your answer is no? It hurts me more than some tentacles. The sea that brings me to Ketterdam is calm and insinuating, like a good friend, and in my dream I saw a real storm. The waves are dark gray and violent. The wind is whistling so that you can no longer hear anything, as if nature is angry at something, and the ship is rocking as if it will break into pieces. A storm in a dream is a bad sign for the Sulians. A couple of days after I slept, we buried one of the sailors, who was so sick that before his death he could barely stand on his feet and coughed away birds for days. Don't you think it's just a coincidence? What is it? He asked thoughtfully, staring at the ceiling when it seems that someone's eyes, glinting maliciously in the darkness, will look at him from there. Maybe. But soon a seagull began to fly behind the ship, and then it settled down with us, as if in our native home. The Sulians believe that after death we resurrect in someone's body. We can become proud lions in the Shakonsk tundra. We can become free crows in the sky, or we can resurrect in the form of water or fire. It's unusual to drink water and think that you're drinking someone's soul with it, Kaz drawls without mockery or contempt, as if rolling rancid leaves on his tongue. You mean, after your death, your sailor became a seagull? As an option. Maybe he loved seagulls in his lifetime, so the saints gave him the will to become one of them. Someone becomes what they deserve. For example, a worm that can be crushed at any moment. This means that a person was a sinner, and someone can be whatever they want to be. I would become a geranium on your windowsill because it's already completely withered. Inej sits up, looks at the faded orange flowers, and Kaz almost grumbles for her to come back. By the way, why don't you change it? Kaz is staring at the floor until she sees him. I'll give it to the little merchant. He might want to make a herbarium. Inej, without looking at him, laughs softly. Or a wreath for Jess. Kaz echoes dangerously, bordering on lifelessness, before leaning forward. He hugs her to him again and turns over so that now Inej lies impressively under him. He kisses her on the line of her jaw, kisses her deftly found and desperately humming pulse under her skin, kisses her lips that tremble in a half, smile while her arms wrap around a man's shoulders, and he himself, for the first time in the 5 years that they have been together, because he does not know when he will see her again, confesses in a whisper that he loves her. Her. Inej is 22. She is beautiful, like a mythical girl who escaped from the yellowed pages of a fantastic book, and for some reason she becomes the happiest in the whole world, precisely in his hands, steeped in someone else's blood, as if there could be no other way. Kazoo is 23, he gets gray hair too early and feels 40 years older, if not more, and he finds solace in life, which has become a burden, only in her direct shining gaze and trembling touches. Paradoxically, Inej still continues to love him devotedly. Kaz is 23, and he doesn't understand why. A woodpecker is constantly tapping on the spreading branches of a dense tree located near the harbor. It sounds like the rumble of heavy wheels on solid ground as Kaz strides across the shifting sand to the dock and covers her shoulders with his cape. Inej did not sleep well last night and did not react to him immediately, but at that hour, as her gaze rises, as her eyes squint from the light, and she herself wants to say something, he says earlier, "Keep it to yourself." Something is heard that treacherously breaks into caring. "It's too small for me anyway, but it's just right for you." Inej nods stupidly, wraps himself up tighter, and closing his eyes, buries his face in the cape. Kaz knows that she retains his scent, that the fabric contains reminders of slums, blood, and iridescent jade leaves, everything that will remind her of him. Kaz looks up. "Is your carriage waiting?" In fact, he doesn't want to ask this. He doesn't want her to sail away again and leave him with complete ignorance. And at the same time, salt and poison pouring into the furrow of open scars, concern that the sea will reveal its true identity and take off the mask of a friend. Her dark agate irises sparkle with gems, and her eyelids flutter like a tiny fan. "He's waiting," Inej says simply, "but they know they'll have to wait. As usual, because I need to talk to you, Kazoo. Despite all the stinking truths he has forged about icy cold tranquility, does not like how it sounds like a harbinger of dazzling white lightning in the once azure sky. But he keeps silent about it and gives her the right to continue. And she, looking at him, laughs briefly and without mockery. "Holy cow, you look like a kid accidentally called you Grandpa." "It feels very close," Kaz grunts with deliberate indifference, even though the tremor in his voice gives him away. "So what's so important that you want to tell me that the whole ship is waiting?" In response, a sigh, heavy and loud. "Do you remember how once I was absent from Kerch for 3 whole months?" Inej asks cautiously, resolutely fidgeting in place, which involuntarily reminds her of a little raven who has just woken up. "Next time, I might come even later." Kaz swears by the whole handful of Krug that he keeps in his safes, despite the annoying babble of conscience and all the carefully constructed aspects in his head that he can stoically endure any length of time without her. Everything inside twists painfully, and facial expressions show everything that he has to hide from her. The slave trade is flourishing, Inej hurries to report, glancing at the heated sands, indignant and eager to avenge herself and anyone suffering from someone else's lust. "I thought people would start to be afraid knowing who would fight against them, but no, there are only more of them. It's like an endless war. And are you ready to devote your whole life to this war, Inej?" She looks at him. Kaz immediately notices and sees that Inej has been trampled by the consequences of her own ideologies and adventures. She has almost disappeared in the heat of endless battles and forced bloodshed. But unlike him, She's still alive. You've devoted years to avenge your brother, Inez remarks reasonably and looks so grown up, so smart, as if she's older than him, as if it's not him who has so much in his soul, but her. Then why can't I dedicate my whole life to avenge myself and those who risk being in my place? Because I'm going to worry, he says for once, finding the courage to admit the simplest thing, which he understands without his ridiculous confessions. Don't worry about it. Gezin, thanks, the advice couldn't be better. Then what am I supposed to do but sit in Ketterdam until I get old and wonder if the sea is tired of being your friend, and if you've encountered a stronger opponent along the way? Inez smiles at him. Her slender hand reaches out and gently rests on the palm of her hand, which is clutching the head of the cane, and he feels that it calms him down a little. Actually, I lied a little when I said that I would give my peaceful life to this war. I'm not eternal, and the slave trade won't disappear no matter how much I fight it, and it will still exist even after me. Her thumb twitches, gently stroking the white skin of his hand. I've taught Madhavi everything she needs to know to take over my position one day. The next trip to the sea will be my last. I mean, as soon as I get back, I'll stay with you, Kaz. Kaz thinks he's hearing that she's not telling him anything, and overly utopian dreams mercilessly turn into demiurges of the most violent auditory hallucinations over time. But Inez looks at him in such a way that the thorns of doubt instantly fall to the ground and make him believe. He looks at it in such a way that he understands. Everything is real, real. Kaz puts his hand, trembling and bony like a piece of a broken sharp branch, on hers and squeezes as if afraid to let go. When you get back, I'll propose to you. He watches the stunned look on her face, the disbelief in her eyes, and wonders if he's saying something unnecessary. Are you sure? Inez pauses to clear her throat when her throat and mouth dry up like a hot desert, and her tongue twists into a knot, and Kaz hears a slight hint of cunning slip into her words. Are you sure you're ready to spend the rest of your life with all my, peculiarities? Are you talking about your constant faith in saints and the Sulian sayings that I'm too used to live without? I'm ready, of course, if you get along with my shortcomings. Inez, so radiant and, again, alive, leans forward at the same time, hugs his waist while Kaz hugs her to him, lifts her off the ground as if she weighed nothing at all. And at that moment, when everything around her, the damn sea, business, slavers, seems so far away and unreal, he almost forgets himself and does not spin her in the air like a bride at a wedding. She laughs softly in his strong arms, and her laughter is like a beautiful song in his ears. Kaz is surprised. Not every girl will be happy with a marriage proposal from a criminal, and Inez looks like the whole world is being brought to her feet. She gently takes his face in her hands, warm from the sun in the cape, and bending down slightly, gently kisses his forehead. Consider that you've already received my I agree. Inez whispers fervently in his ear before he lowers her onto the loose mounds of sand, when suddenly, conspiratorially, as if forgetting something important, he continues. And here's another thing, Kaz. Business, slavers, seem so far away and unreal, he almost forgets from high school too, so there's also an emblem like mine. It turns out that we're the same age. So, also from the same school? And yes, my name is Dream. Nice to meet you, hey. She smiled sweetly. Dream. Have we met anywhere before? Huh? Maybe we saw each other at school? No. This is something else. I don't want to scare you, but I get the feeling that I've known you for a long time. It's hard to explain, but still, it's like your name put everything in place in my head. But our hand contact seemed familiar to me. Oh, stars, I'm embarrassed. Without realizing it, Dream looked away, looking at the sunset that had already appeared. "Oh, it's already sunset! How beautiful! Wow, I almost missed this view in a hurry." The girl turned around and began to look at the landscape, forgetting about the meeting with her friends. Sunset? Cross turned his head himself and glanced briefly at the orange sky, but still his gaze was involuntarily riveted on only one view. It was a dream. "Really, it's a beautiful view." The guy smiled gently. "That's how two loving hearts from the past met. And everyone else met and reunited in this life without realizing it. Perhaps it's even for the best. May they live a long and happy life. Even after many years, loving hearts, close people, and just friends will definitely find each other, no matter what it costs them."